Time now to look at what's grabbing headlines on the world papers. Franz Vilmo's back with us in studio. Still all about FIFA.
It's
Franz.
all about FIFA, and since it's Friday, let's start with some cartoons that I think sum up the situation quite well. First of all, this is a South African cartoon from Eyewitness News by cartoonist Dr. Jack and Curtis. I love this. I saw it on social media. You can see it talks about the top FIFA officials arrested, and you can see them pretending to be injured. That's a scene you can see on football fields quite a lot, and then the police officer saying, "Nice try, get in the van." Now, critics have saying that the scandal is really staining the sport of football, and I pulled out another cartoon. This is by Tom Tolles in the Washington Post. Here what you can see is a soccer goal with a spider web in it, and the spider is FIFA. The spider web is catching all this cash, and you can see some guys watching the game saying, the game seems quite different these days.
Now, most eyes, though, on that FIFA President Sepp Blatter. He's facing mounting pressure to resign.
Absolutely. He's on the front page of several papers once again today. Let's start with The Independent. You can see this message from Europe to Blatter: quit or we will boycott the World Cup. European national sides have threatened to pull out of the 2018 World Cup in Russia if Sepp Blatter is re-elected in this hotly anticipated election today. Let's look inside the cartoon. Inside The Independent, there's another cartoon. Today's Cartoon Day, obviously. And you can see here Sepp Blatter depicted as a soccer ball and looking in quite a delicate situation here. Looks like he's going to get the boot.
One wonders, though, he definitely remains defiant as
That's right.
this vote.
Very defiant. Sepp Blatter is also on the front page of the Wall Street Journal today. It says that Blatter is bucking calls for his resignation. You can see this quote here: "We or I cannot monitor everyone all the time." And similarly on the front page of The Guardian, the British paper today, there's a quote from him saying, "We cannot allow the shame to go on any longer, so I'll stay." Quite a little surreal quote there, and on the front page of The Guardian, you can see Sepp Blatter holding on to the World Cup today.
Now, there have been some people who have come out in his defense.
That's right, and this is interesting because despite all the mudslinging that's going on right now, Sepp Blatter does have a lot of supporters, especially in Africa, where he's really won the hearts and minds of Africa's football establishment. You can read this article in The Guardian. The Confederation of African Football has traditionally voted for Sepp Blatter because, according to The Guardian, the confederation believes that he's the only one that really cares about Africa. Love him or loathe him, he has done outstanding things. That's a quote from a high officer in the African Confederation. Basically, since he's been president, he's provided funding for pitches, for youth academies, technical centers, and especially he brought the World Cup to Africa. This is a big deal for African nations. So this loyalty that he has from Africa, according to The Guardian, has really enabled him to ride out a lot of other scandals, and it's very crucial in today's election.
Yeah, we'll have to see if he'll ride out that one. Well, another man of the moment, a former US soccer official who was key in gathering information on FIFA.
That's right. This is Chuck Blazer. You've probably been hearing his name a lot as well. You can read a profile about him here in the Daily Beast, the soccer dad who brought down FIFA. Very interesting profile. It talks about how he went from being a coach for kiddie soccer teams in New York to really going to the top. He became the general secretary of FIFA's Confederation of North, Central American, and Caribbean Association football. He really lived the jet-setter life, flying around in private jets. He had swanky apartments, including, I like this detail, he had a private apartment for his cats in the Trump Tower in New York City. He had offshore bank accounts, money laundering, tax evasion. The law caught up with him, basically, and to avoid going to jail, he became an informant for the FBI. He turned on FIFA. He basically wore a wire and secretly recorded all these executives talking about bribery and etc. So that's why he's become really this key player that we're talking about a lot today.
Okay, yeah, an important phrase, cat's eye. That's going to take me a while to get over. Finally, a quick word about David Cameron. The British Prime Minister is on a four-nation tour, ramping up support for his changes to the Union.
Absolutely. He received a politely frosty welcome. That's the way The Independent put it. Yesterday, he was here in France and in the Netherlands. Today, he's heading to Poland and Germany. You can see him here meeting with Mark Rutte, the Prime Minister of the Netherlands. Cameron is out of step with other European leaders. They do look quite awkward here in these photos. Now, he's calling on European leaders to be flexible and imaginative, but if we take a look at what The Guardian has to say about it, France especially is warning Cameron over his risky EU strategy, a strategy that also could be risky for the EU, though. If we take a look at a cartoon in China Daily today, it talks about how Cameron has vowed to hold a referendum about whether or not the UK should stay in the European Union, and this could be really dangerous for the rest of the Union. You can see here Cameron playing Jenga, which is one of the best games in the world, of course, and you can see him pulling out the British bloc, and, well, it could make the whole Union topple over because of that.
Yeah, and one wonders then how far are other countries going to be willing to negotiate in order to get Britain to stay. Okay, thanks very much, Florence Villeneuve with the International Press Review.